Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to another edition of Dreamstruck. We are so excited about our guest speaker tonight and the topic that we will be going over because we've never discussed this before in a year and a month. So we're very excited about that. Before we jump into everything, I want to just kind of have all of the panelists introduce yourselves, and because we have a lot of new team members that are joining us, number one, and we want to make sure that our guest speaker knows the audience of teams that she will be speaking with. And when you introduce yourself quickly, if you could let us know, if you watched the end of month last night with Dan and Lacey, what are you most excited about this month? And anyone can chime in.
Oh man. Okay, so I'll go first. My name's Emily Goodnet. I am the Superstar Director for Team Fabulous Family. I am based out of Ontario, Canada. And oh man, there were a number of things, but I'm actually really excited for that new wax collection, the Chase Rainbows, and all the colors that go with the fragrance. I'm really excited to smell those. Even the artwork on the packaging with the holographic words on it, so pretty. So I'm really excited to smell that.
Yay! So am I. Thanks, Emily.
Of course.
Hello. I'll go next. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go, Carol. I'll go DPP. I'll go third. Y'all go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm Debbie Pitts Palmer, DPP from Trussville, Alabama. And what I love most about last night was so many things. Let me see. Okay, it's the Join Special, of course. The Join Special is what I really love most, but I love everything, really.
Oh, yes. $25, y'all. That's a steal. We have to take advantage of that. Thanks, Debbie. All right, Carol, you're up.
Hey, I'm Carol Bishop Hauk. I am the Superstar Director for Global Empire, and I did watch Dan's live, and I am most excited to find out if I won the amount of flowers. So I'm just kidding. I don't know. I didn't see if he picked anybody yet. But I'm excited about Dumbo finally getting here. It's such a good seller. So I'm very excited for that.
Oh, yeah. Dumbo's so cute. All right, Amber.
Okay, Amber Turner, Superstar Director out of East Texas for Team Can Do Consultants. I have to double up and say that I'm most excited about the Join Special as well. It's been fun today just watching people who have never approached me about Scentsy before inquire about the $25 kit. They haven't joined yet, but you better believe I'm writing their names down. I'll be following up with them, so I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm so happy that you understand the follow-up aspect of that, because sometimes it's not no out the gate, but guess what? The second or third go around, they might fly in, and that's awesome. All right, Dorothy.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Sanchez out of Katy, Texas. And my favorite thing was also the Join Special. I'm really excited about it. And just like Amber said, about the $25 special, the unique thing is that some people yesterday wouldn't take a free kit that I offered, but they want the $25 kit. So I'm like, hey, whatever works for them,
That's so true. I'll never be able to figure that one out, Dorothy. But
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah, exactly, same.
Okay, I'm Teresa Gosh, and I am in the middle of nowhere in Abilene, Texas. My favorite deal last night, one of my favorite deals, I won't repeat what you all said, but I like that little doggone koala with the cardigan. Guys, how cute is that? And I put it together today. I was like, okay, her name is Cozy, and then she has on a cardigan. So we'll have to get the Cozy cardigan scent pack to go. No, we can't, because that's gone. Well, maybe in the fall. Anyway, all right. So thank you all for introducing yourselves. That gave other people time to enter the room, and again, continue to share, so that way everyone that may have forgotten that we're getting together tonight will join us. And Kelly, you have not said what your favorite
I'm trying
thing.
to get away from the vacuumers.
Okay.
So I'm Kelly Rashaw. I am the Superstar Director of the No Limit Empire. I'm currently at the Home and Garden Show in Minnesota setting up, and we have been here since 1 p.m. Central Time. So it's crazy. Like, we're still setting up. So it's a huge event for us. I'm super excited, but we had to bring on my friend Kristen Ingles. I'm so excited for you guys to get to hear her tonight. I'm super excited, which is why I'm still listening, even though the vacuumers are going by me right now.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting Kristen. That is such a sweet treat for us. And I love your eyelashes too.
Thanks. Like
You're
yours too.
welcome. Did you get your nails done yet?
Boom.
Oh man. All right, you got me beat.
And I have not eaten dinner yet.
Oh goodness. Well, that's what I'm doing right now. All right. Well, what was your favorite thing last night, Kelly?
I'm loving the join special only because I'm doing a sponsoring challenge with my group, spring into sponsorship, and it just fell right into our laps with the timing of it. So I'm super, super excited about that. Hopefully we can build an even bigger empire this month.
Love it. Love it. Y'all will. Absolutely. All right. Well, if you want to give the floor over to our special guest.
Kristen, where are you at?
I'm here. I'm here.
You guys are going to love her accent.
Oh,
And her eyebrows are always on point.
you're ridiculous. You are ridiculous. Oh my goodness. So I don't even know really how long is this supposed to be? Because that's one thing I don't even know.
Oh, well, it can be however long you want it to be. We usually wrap up at 10 o'clock. I'm just kidding. You're like, what? We usually go until 8 p.m. So for, an hour, but, if you want to talk, and share your story and then even afterwards, just kind of, if you can share how you are leveraging this $25 join special with your business and with your team, that would be an amazing end to it all too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So, and then we leave a little bit of time for some Q&A just in case anyone has any questions. We can follow up on the end and then we land it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. Thank
You're
you for wanting me to even speak.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I met Kristen in Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains of all places. That was really fun. It was really fun. And I went back there about a week ago and I actually went to the mansion that we stayed in. And I felt poor. I was like, I can't get in. And they were like bumping music in there. And I was just like, gosh, I just want to go inside again. But it wasn't the same feeling as when we were all there for a few days. But it was a pleasure, meeting you there. And now we get to connect tonight.
Yes. I'm so excited to be here. What is today? Today is what? Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. So you want me to start? Are we going?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
1, 2, 3, go. Okay, awesome. So number one, there's like 81 people here. That's crazy right now from what I can see. So number one, thank you for showing up to this. If you're showing up, clearly you want something more in your business. It's a Tuesday night. For me, it's 8 p.m. It's hard this time of night to even freaking figure out what you're doing for tomorrow and everything else, trying to get your kids to bed, get dinner packed up, everything. So thank you for being here because I know it's not easy. My name is Kristen Ingles. I have been with Scentsy for like 8.5 years. I'm an SSD. I lead a group called Wickless Luster. It's kind of funny, like sometimes when I say that name out loud, I'm like, why did I choose that name back then? It kind of sounds like, never mind. I'm not even going to say what it sounds like. Anywho, but I love this business. It has literally changed my entire world and my life. It's insane. I hit SSD in 2 years, which was crazy. And I'm going to go back to that in a second, but I hit SSD in 2 years. And then for the next 3 to 4 years, I kind of just coasted, to be honest. I was like this kind of level playing field. And yeah, that's that. But so I was a nurse for 9 years. I resigned from the hospital in November, which is insane. And I was able to do that because of Scentsy. I have 2 boys. They are 14 and 12. I have no idea what's going on. My oldest is about to go to high school next year. It literally makes no sense. I went through a divorce starting 3 years ago, which completely rocked and changed my world. And I have my children 99.9% of my life. And I have since then. So it's been hard at times because I was obviously still working as a nurse. I was leading this group of people and literally just busting at the seams 24/7, like going 110 for 3 years. Actually, I mean, even longer than that. The entire time I did Sensi, I was working as a nurse, sometimes 60 hours a week, nights, days, through COVID, through everything. It was nuts. It was nuts just trying to maintain. So for the past 3 years, going through a divorce, going through COVID as a nurse, to be honest, I coasted with my business. I was very lucky that I have a lot of amazing, strong leaders who did their jobs, honestly, and they really carried a lot. Did I show up as a leader? I did. Could I have done more in that season? Maybe a little bit, but honestly, I was trying to survive. I was trying to survive. As anybody on here who's been through divorce knows, it changes everything. It just like, you try to find so much security and safety after that, especially for your children, that a lot of other things kind of they go to the wayside because you're just trying to survive. And that's what I was doing. So to make a long story short, I could have quit the hospital probably 2 years ago, to be honest, financially from Sensi. And that's crazy to say too, to be honest, because I make good money as a nurse, but I didn't want to rip off the Band-Aid. I didn't want to rip off the Band-Aid. I was very, very, very secure and confident as a nurse. I knew I was a badass nurse. I'm a great nurse and I loved my job. I really did. And I loved nursing, to be honest, but I wasn't as confident in my business. And I don't even know why, guys. I don't even know why, because if we sit here and think about all the things that we've done in our businesses, instead of looking at all the things that we haven't done, we're so quick to just be like, but I didn't do this and I didn't do this and I didn't do this. But we don't even reward ourselves for what we've done. Instead, we do the other. And that is a very bad grave to dig. Anywho, I have really bad ADHD. I did write some notes, but you know how it is. You trail off and then you're like, where did I get here? In November, I finally was like, I'm doing it. I texted Jennifer Anderson, if any of you guys know her. She's my SSD. Me and her go back since like middle school. I've known her forever. I texted her and I was like, Jen, I'm quitting my job today. And she was like, no, you're not. I said, I am. I'm done. I'm done. Like, I cannot do this anymore. COVID was real. I was exhausted. My kids were like, God only knows what my kids were doing because I was at work all the time. And so I walked in there and I was like, I'm done. And I gave my notice. I went all in Sensi and I was pumped. And then not even a week later, I got COVID. For the 9 years I was a nurse, and the past 3 years, I had never had COVID. I got COVID and I was really sick. And honestly, I was sick for a good month. So I had all this fire when I left the hospital. I was like ready to go. I was going to do this. I was going to reinvent my business, refresh everything. I was so pumped. And then I got COVID, and honestly, like getting out of my bed was, I couldn't even do it. I was a disaster. I was a mess. And honestly, I think it was because I was running so hard for so long. Finally, my body was like, you need a break. God was like, you need a break, sit down. So I did. And then that was November, the best month. We're supposed to have the best month, right? I didn't. I mean, it wasn't terrible, thank God, but I did not have the best month that I thought that I was going to have financially. Then December came. I started feeling a little bit better. Honestly, I was still freaking exhausted for like 6 weeks after I had COVID. I swear, I was exhausted. But finally I was like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. This is what is going to pay my bills. This is what is keeping my house for my children. And honestly, because I had been coasting for 3 years, my business was not in the best place. It wasn't completely bad, but it was not going to make me what I need to make to support my children and have everything that we need, and for me to have security. So here's the deal. Kristen grew up very poor. I lived in motels when I was younger. There were many times that my parents would fight about money because we didn't know if we were going to have enough to keep any kind of roof over our heads. We were homeless for a long time. I have worked so hard to build so much security financially because I never want to go there with my kids. I never want to feel like I can't support them, like they're going to lose this house. I never want them to be fearful of that, like I was. And so I worked so hard for this. And then I leave the hospital, which is honestly a great income. And I'm sitting here with this business in my hands that I can't even be proud of. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And honestly, for like a week, I was in my feels. I was completely in my feels. I was not working hard. I was walking around completely just like anxious, depressed, exhausted, not doing what I needed to do. And finally, I went to my mom and my dad's. Thank God they just moved here. I've been on my own in a state for almost 14 years by myself with no family. My parents just moved here. And I was in the shop with my dad and I started crying and he said, Hazel, what is wrong with you? And I said, Dad, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, how am I going to do this? And he said, when have you not done anything that you needed to do? And I was like, how am I going to support my kids? And he's like, you've always done it, Kristen. You got like, and I was like, okay, all right, what do I need to do? So I took a long, hard look at my business. And I was like, so I hit SSD in 2 years. What in the world was I doing? Because right now I definitely couldn't hit SSD in 2 years. So like, what was I doing back then that I'm not doing now? So I started to really look at what I used to do. Guys, I recruited like a crazy person the first 2 years of my business, like 40 plus people every year, hit annual mentor every single year. Kristen has not hit annual mentor in 3 years because I've been coasting. But for the first 2 years of my business, I always did. My mouth was always open. Always. I was always ride or die Scentsy. The first thing that I had to do was figure out what was working for me and what wasn't working. What was not working was my mindset. I had to get out of my own way. And I know that it is not easy when you are not paid a title for a long time. Guys, I wasn't paid a title. We just hit March. I'm so sorry. I didn't get paid a title in January by like this much. And I literally didn't know what I was going to do when I woke up on February 1st. I was like, what am I going to do? And thank God, since pretty much the middle of December, I have been really trying to reinvent my business, which is what we're about to talk about here in a second. But the first thing that I had to do was fix my mindset and realize that none of it was okay. But if I stayed here, I was never going to change anything. I was going back to the hospital. I was going to be leaving my kids. I literally left my house every morning at 5 a.m. And mind you, I'm going through a divorce. My kids have me. They have me. 99.9% of the time, they have me. I leave my house at 5 a.m. I get home sometimes 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I do that 3 or 4 days a week. I can't go back there, guys. My kids need me. The reason why I left the hospital was because this is where I need to be with my family. And I will work like hell to make whatever business I have to work so that I can do this. Guys, you have to find what you're working for. You have to find why you're fighting so hard. Because if you look at the bigger picture, now that I've been like changing my business and looking at everything, none of this is hard. Scentsy is not hard. It is simple. It really is simple. But it starts with, where in the world am I going? What am I working for? What do I like? When somebody says no to me, it doesn't matter. I don't care. You know why? Because I have something that is pushing me and moving me so much that I don't care. You have to find something that makes you want to work. My mindset had to change. It had to, and it did. And it did. It changed. Do I still have moments where I'm like, of course I do. We all do. Give yourself a lot of grace. But you got to stop being in your feels about where you are in your business. You have to look at it and say, where am I now? Where am I? And where do I want to be? And why am I working so hard to get there? What is moving me? What is pushing me? I went back to parties. I had to reinvent my business. I had to refresh it. I went back to parties. I built my business on tote parties because for the first, 9 years, but for the first probably 3 or 4 years, I did tote parties like they were. I'm a nurse. I carried those things everywhere I went. I dropped them off. I dropped one off in the morning. I'd pick one up in the afternoon. I always had tote parties. I do 4 to 6 every month. They work for me. That and PWS orders. So I went back to that. I also tried out Facebook parties. I didn't fail completely. I haven't mastered it yet, but I'm getting there. And I'm not giving up. I'm not. When you reinvent your business, you have to try different things. I'm not a Facebook party person, but I was like, shoot, I'll give it a shot. I can be funny. Maybe these people will like me. I don't know. I didn't fail, but I have some work to do. But guess what? I tried it. I know what works for me now with Facebook parties. I know what doesn't work for me. And now I tweak it a little bit and I try it again. And maybe next time it'll even work better. But if you never try, you don't even know. So you got to try everything. I used to do a lot of home parties, of course, because of COVID, that changed a lot. But now people are allowing that a little bit more. 1 year in Scentsy, I was really not happy with my recruiting. So you know what I did? I made myself do a home party every single month for 12 months for that entire year. And I did. And I'm pretty sure I hit annual mentor. I did. Home parties are what's up if you can get them. And you know how you get them? You send a lot of messages. We're going to go to that in a second. Sampling. I had to reinvent my business. I went from working in a hospital where I could walk in and hand out samples and hand out samples and hand out samples to being at home. Time check. Being at home. And guys, okay, those of you who work from home, completely full-time Scentsy, I give you 2 hands up. I applaud you. It is, guys, I am not, okay, so I'm not an introvert completely. I really like to be at home. I love being in my house. I just love being at home. But I need people too. I think everybody kind of needs people for the most part. And when I left the hospital, went through COVID, then started trying to work, I really struggled. I really struggled being by myself in this house. I would be trying to work during the day. I mean, I wasn't really talking to anybody anymore. I would go to the gym, but I wouldn't really talk to anybody there. I would come home. And then at one point, I didn't even leave my house to go to the gym. I just was here, not talking to anybody. And then my poor boyfriend would get home and, you know, he's been talking to people all day at work. And last thing I want to do is just load him down working. Here's what I've realized about working from home. It is so important to get out of your house. It is so important to get involved in things. I started walking dogs with my mom at a shelter. I love it. I do it one day a week. I normally come home with bruises, but I love it. I go to the gym at least 3 days a week, if not more. I think even walking, getting outside, getting fresh air, things like that, like we need to focus on those too. Sorry, I have really bad ADHD. I hope y'all are learning something from this. Samples, that's where I was, samples. So I went from working in a hospital and having all these people and all these contacts to literally being at my house and not seeing people. So I was like, I got to sample. I got to meet new people. Like my recruiting game is slack. What do I need to do? So I started sampling. That has worked for me tremendously. Okay. Here's the thing about sampling. I don't know about you guys, but how many times have you made samples and then a year later have to throw them away because they went bad or they look nasty? All the time, right? All the time. Kristen, me, all the time. I don't mean all the time. I mean all the time. Like I always did that. I was a slacker in that category. These days, I can't keep enough samples made because I'm sending them so frequently. Everybody always asks me, they're like, how do you get out samples? Literally, I just post them on Instagram and I'm like, who wants a sample? I message people. Do you want a sample? It's not hard. Just ask people. People love stuff like that. I try though to message and get people who I've never sold to before. That is the biggest thing. Of course, I have my customers, but guys, we're trying to grow here. We got to meet new people. We got to make new connections. So you have got to make more samples. You can't just make them. You got to send them. Okay. And then after you send them, don't forget, you have to follow up. You got to follow up. My game and follow-up has been slack for 3 years. My game and follow-up now is much better. And my PRV is much better. They go hand in hand, I promise you. Sampling, get them out, follow up, and then keep following up. Take care of your customers. Don't be slack. One of the worst things I ever saw, and I am so sorry if this offends anybody, because I don't know if anybody on here does this. Customer care is so important to me. I literally tissue paper, maybe a little wrap, do something special. These people love it. They love it. I have so many local customers and get a lot of PWS orders, and it's because of my customer care. And I'm telling you, it matters. I saw a girl walking through the hospital that had gotten waxed and it was in a Food Line grocery bag. We got to take care of our customers. And I know for a fact she got it from somebody. I'm not saying like she bought it. You know what I mean? We got to take care of our customers. It matters. It really does. Messaging people, not cold messaging people. Make a list, check it twice, and then message them. Don't wait for your leaders to have, why can't I think right now? Booking blitz. I make myself do booking blitzes all the time. I'll set a timer on my oven, put some music on, and do a complete booking blitz on my own for myself. Don't wait on other people for your business to take off. Do you know how many people are waiting on their leaders to do things? This is your business. Take control of it yourself. You got it. You got to think outside the box. I've been thinking outside the box as much as possible. I'm over here making reels. Okay. Kristen is not a reel maker, but I'm also very goofy. So I just go on there and do it. And I have no idea if it's working or if it's not working, but I do know that I'm getting more followers, which in turn gets me more samples out, which in turn gets me more customers and more contacts and more connections. Was I scared to do these reels and all these things? Yes, I don't want to do that. But you know what? It's kind of fun. And who cares what people think? Anyways, honestly, does it matter? No. What matters is you and what you want out of your business and being your own brand. Let's talk about that for a second. Social media is so much different now than it was when I joined Scentsy. Like night and day, completely. And I've only been in Scentsy for what, 8.5 years. I know a lot of you guys have probably been around longer than that. And social media is huge now. It was not back then. And you're going to see, you know, people in their businesses because of social media. And I think sometimes we feel like if we don't have certain things and have certain success, that we're not successful. But everyone's idea of success is different. And everyone's idea of success is their own. So just because you're watching someone else's stuff and you don't have what she has, or your business doesn't look like hers, it looks different, it doesn't matter. I was looking at one of my SSDs, Patty Morrow, if any of you guys know her, who I love. But she has been killing it with reels and she's doing all this crazy stuff on her Instagram. And I was talking to my boyfriend last night and I was like, should I do mine like this? Like showing him, I'm like, look at how cool hers. Like, should I do mine like this? And he was like, no. And I was like, why? Why should I do it like that? And he was like, because it wouldn't be yours. And I'm like, he's like, people like you for a reason. So just do you. And I'm like, okay, fine. But it's the truth, guys. People want to join your team for you. They want to buy from you because of the vibe that you bring. So you got to check your energy and you have to check how you are. Back in the day when I used to do a lot of recruiting trainings, I always would say, like, how do you portray yourself? Are you a negative person? Are you a positive person? How are you? Like, do you need to check yourself for a second? I am normally a positive person. I definitely can be very spicy at times and don't mean to be, especially when I'm overtired. But people want to join people who, you know, bring off a good energy and a good vibe. I just can't do negativity. That's all. That's what it is. Guys, we got to be positive. Okay. Sorry, I'm trailing. What was not working in my business? Number one, my mindset. My mindset was not working. We cannot be there. We cannot stay there. The other thing that does not work for me is working in front of a TV, to be honest. Working from home, you have to figure out what works for you. You know, where you are your most intentional. This business does not take a lot of time, guys. If you're working in your office 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, you're doing something completely and utterly wrong. This business does not take a lot of time, but it takes intentional work. It takes you sitting there being intentional, just mainly doing IPAs, income producing activities. And when you're lost, always come back to the 3 legs of success: training. And I always say, I need to train myself, but also if you're a leader, training other people. If you have a team with one person underneath you, you are a leader. You are already a mentor. Training, recruiting. If you're not recruiting, you've got to come back to that. You know, it doesn't matter how big we get in this business. Kristen's been around for a minute, but back in November, I was like, oh crap, I need to get my business in check quick. It doesn't matter how high you get in this business. You always have to recruit. You always have to grow. You can't be at a standstill. I have been. To be honest, I have been. I was actually going to do a YouTube video a while back because I think that there's a lot of SSDs in this business who probably feel exactly the way that I felt when I was there. And there's a lot of SSDs who aren't paid at title. And guys, I'm not always paid at title. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't paid at title in January. But the only thing that we can do is come out of that. Because there's okay, your business is not going to be like this. It's not going to go like this. It's going to go like this. It's what you do here that matters the most. Literally. I have been through hell and back for 3 years. Literally. I went through divorce. My aunt, who was one of my best friends, died from cancer. One of my best guy friends, Nick, died from cancer. There's been a lot of things that have happened. I could have given up. Many, 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 many times I could have given up. I could have just stopped Scentsy completely and gone into nursing and just done nursing full time and made enough money to support myself and my kids. I could have done that. But what it always comes back to is that Scentsy is different. It's not like the normal world, guys. It's not. Scentsy can literally change your life. It can literally change your family's lives. It can change the people that you recruit. It can change their lives. I have seen it over and over and over. Most of my, I live in North Carolina, but I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, born and raised. And most of my group is up there. And I have a lot of people. Okay, so I grew up in a place called Quincy, Massachusetts, which is one of the biggest underage drinking capitals in the country. Around a lot of drugs, all the things. Most of my high school class is gone from overdose and everything else. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible place. It's not a terrible place. I grew up there, but it's rough. It's rough. It's really rough. Scentsy has changed so many people's lives that I went to high school with that are on my team. It brought them out of drugs. It brought them out of a lot of things. Scentsy can change everything, guys. But what we have to do is look at what we have and figure out what we want to do with it. Take a long, hard look at your business and figure out if you're happy where it is. If you are, awesome. I'm pretty pumped where mine is right now. I know there's some things I could definitely work at. There always is, but I'm happy where it's going. And I'm happy with my mindset because it always comes back to that. Figure out where your business is. Figure out what's working, what's not working. And then take what's working and just freaking make it crazy. Bring it up a notch. Do more. Show up more. Get on training calls more. Train other people more. Talk about your business more. You just got to do more. Literally, it all comes back to that. We have to show up more. But it really starts with, what do you want? And I think that, God, sorry, my light is so weird. There's not a ghost, I promise. One last thing. So I was at this leadership thing last year, blah, blah, blah. And one of my girls, one of my star directors really struggled because she doesn't know what she wants. And we talked about that. And here's the thing. I did not know what I wanted years ago. I joined Scentsy because I was a nurse. I was stressed out. I needed an outlet. I never knew it was going to be what it is now. It's crazy. But I didn't know what I was working towards. I was just working. And then 3 years ago, I got divorced. And I had no idea for years what I was working towards. But guys, if I didn't have Scentsy when I got divorced, I would have lost everything. I had so many things go wrong in my house the first year I was divorced. It was well over 50 grand. I was able to pay cash because of Scentsy. I would have gone into so much debt. Listen, you don't have to have a why. You don't have to have a why. You don't have to have one. But you have to keep showing up and working, because eventually you really might have one and you have no idea what's going to happen. And you might really need this someday. You never know. So I think that's all I gotta say. Oh, wait, I have to do, how am I leveraging the join special with my team or with people in general?
So before we do that, I just want to tell you, like, the chat is just blowing up. Your story, I had no idea. And here we spent how many days with you in a cabin, and I was kind of bashful and shy. And now I wish that I would have kind of gotten out of my shell to hug you and get to know you better. You have such a compelling story, very heartwarming. And really, it's a testimony to everybody, because you never know when life is going to strike, right? We didn't know a pandemic was going to hit us. That's something we read in the history books, right? You don't get married to, and plan to get a divorce. You don't plan for all these things to go wrong in your house and stuff, but crap happens in life. And you're just definitely an example for all of us. Everyone's crap looks differently. But you're an example that, one day you just got to snap out of it, wake up and do more than what you did yesterday, whatever that looks like, even if it's just a little bit more. You have to do more. I really love that. And I love your story, and I'm glad that you're back. And, one of the things in the chat is there was others like, well, I didn't get paid at Title. And honestly, getting paid at Title isn't our identity. It's a goal, but it definitely doesn't identify who we are. It doesn't make us a failure, or anything like that. It's just, it is what it is. It's a goal that we want to reach, So anyway, I just want to say thank you so much, for sharing your story. I know everyone was messaging, girl, you got to get on this, you don't want to miss this tonight. There's something that you said that I think each and every one of us can resonate with to some capacity, So I want to just kind of bounce around before we get into that $25 join special, because I really don't want to cheapen your story. It's absolutely amazing and inspiring. So if we can just kind of go around to a couple of the panelists, is there what is something that Kristen said that was really compelling to you that hit home?
The reinventing, of course, I had to reinvent my business in 2020, so I could totally relate to that. Because after the pandemic hit, I lost all of my events. Mama had a stroke. I was just at my wit's end. I didn't know what to do. I was calling on Teresa. She kept saying, you got to party, but I didn't know how to party. I didn't know how to do home parties. I did not know how to do virtual parties. I had to just spend a lot of time on social media teaching myself how to work my business. And now I'm not working. So I'm reinventing myself again. So I can totally relate to all that. Even her story, her backstory is so similar to mine. So I want to, here's a hug to you. We love you.
You can make me cry.
Kristen, I just want to keep off of that and say, number one, I had no idea of your story, past or present. I didn't even know what you've been through the past 3 years. I want to thank you more than anything for just your transparency, because I'm not trying to make you cry, and I'm not trying to get emotional over here either. But while I have the opportunity, I have to tell you, I've looked up to you since I've known you, and I just had no idea. January is everything to me, because I just promoted to SSD in May of 2020, #pandemic promotion. And I I was paid at title very consistently as director and star director. And so it's been hard. Like, it's a hard pill to swallow. So thank you for your transparency, and thank you for everything that you said that was so very real, because I'm in my 5th year of working Cincy full-time from being an elementary teacher, and the reinventing thing is real. When I saw the topic for tonight, I was like all over it, because you think that taking that leap of faith and doing Cincy full-time would make it easier. It makes it harder. I'm doing my first big event ever this weekend. Because why? Because my circles are shrinking and I've got to meet the people. And so you were just speaking like everything to my soul tonight. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm just happy I get to see y'all's faces for a second too.
Are you going to Disney?
What, Kelly?
Are you going to Disney?
No. I haven't decided. Well, no. I mean, I didn't register. No. No. I'm going on a leadership retreat literally tomorrow. I can't.
Those are always best.
I can't leave my kids for too long.
Yeah.
I just can't. I have to choose things.
I love
miss
that.
your face.
What?
I miss your face.
I miss your face.
So also in the chats, there were some people that were just like, when this happens, I just want to quit, or when I don't get paid a title, I want to quit. And, and I'm like, I responded in the chat, and when you're really in this business, really in this business, and know what Cincy can do for you, and not just for you, but your team that looks up to you, and your customers, that Q word comes off the table. And that's one of the things that I admire again about your story. You had a million real reasons to quit, and even maybe go back to nursing or go back to corporate America or whatever. You had, ample reasons to say, you know what, I'm done. But that wasn't something that you put on the table. And thank God it was still on the table, when you were able to snap back and wake up and say, you know what, I'm going all in. And so, Carol, if you don't mind, can you kind of speak to that, to some, that were reaching some obstacles, whether personally or in the business, and, saying like every month it sounds like, oh, I'm going to quit, but my sponsor saved me. I go to my sponsor every time something happens and they save me, or they convince me to stay. What would you say about that, Carol?
Do people do that? I mean, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't. I mean, I want everyone to stay. Obviously, we want everyone to continue to work, but I can't work my business for you. Like, you have to do the work. And so but like what Kristen said, this business is life changing. And so when you are hungry, you will work. When there is a reason or a need, you will work. And so for people who, I like to call it, how fit are you? How is your mental fitness? Because it's like you have to be able to jump over obstacles and hurdles. And there are constantly going to be no's and things that come up in your life. There's going to be things like, not being paid at title. So for some people that makes them dig in and want to work harder. And then for other people, they're like, screw this, I'm done. And I was there in the beginning. I mean, my business wasn't working out, and I was not invested enough. And I think that, once you become invested, it becomes your business is at a different level. Hobbies are easy to start and quit, right? But then when you are when you're in it and you're invested and you're like, I'm just not going to give up. That's all there is to it. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going and putting one foot in front of the other. If this isn't working, now we have to figure out what is going to work the next time. And Kristen really, talked about that, different ways of like, look, am I not doing what I did in the beginning? Now it's time to continue to do that again. And so, but you have to believe in yourself. I really feel like I can believe Teresa, every single one of us can believe in you, and we can want this more than life itself for you. But if you don't want it, that doesn't mean anything. And so it's all about you. And when you're talking to people, when you're talking to team members and stuff, listen, everyone listens to the WIIFM. What's in it for me? And if you don't tell me what's in it for me, I'm not going to listen to you. It's like so many people are like, but I am not a hand holder. Never have. You can ask every single one of my team members. I am not a hand holder. I'm like, you want this? You're going to learn to swim. You're going to learn to paddle. You're going to learn to float. I don't care if you flip on your back and just tread water for a little while until you regain your breath, but you're going to learn how to swim, and you're going to learn how to do this business, or you're not. And so I'm that. And so there's other people that are hand holders, and they're very kind. And I'm not saying I'm not kind, but I am kind of a hard ass. I do not spoon feed. I don't do these things because frankly, I don't have time. Mm-mm. And so, but I just want people to know that it's not that we don't care. It's just, you've got to put forth effort. I'm going to match my time with your effort. And so your effort has to be there. Yes. And even when you're dealing with customers, now customers should never forget your name, right? You don't, like Kristen was saying, follow up, your sales are going to be higher because you follow up. If you, with team members, like, you have to let them know you're there. And I lost my complete train of thought. Oh my God. I just pulled Kristen. Squirrel. Welcome to my world. And so I'm not kidding. The whole thing's gone. Look, my face is getting all red.
I do that all the time.
The whole thing's gone. Well, anyway.
No, mine's the wine. But just off of what she said too, I think it's so important too to remember that when you're reinventing your business, you're not going to see results overnight. And so for the month of January, no, I wasn't paid at title, but I worked like a little crazy money in January. And that way, when February came and I already had parties in place and things were happening, and I started to kind of see the fruits of my labor, it's not going to happen overnight. Like, you have got to plug away and plug away. Even when you're not seeing results, you still you got to keep plugging away. And eventually your PRV is going to come up. You're going to start having new connections with people. You're going to have people messaging you, talking to you, but you have to do the legwork first. You've got to.
And when you're not, and when we are not in hyper growth, everything you do today will benefit you in a year. Mm-hmm. So, and we're still not, we're kind of, hyper growth was here and now we're kind of like here, it's down just a little bit. So you have to think of what you're doing right now. The benefits will come in the future.
Yes. Join special.
That's right. So who you recruit this month could be your next director this next year.
Yes. It's time to plant seeds everywhere.
Yeah. So while Kristen tells us how she's going to be leveraging that $25 join special, if you joined for $20 or $25, can you put that in the chat? And then if whatever success you've had, if you've earned trips, if you promoted, to lead, director, whatever that looks like for you, can you add that in the chat while Kristen is kind of explaining what her strategy is going to be for herself and also for her team that she's leading, her group, her empire.
So I used to always think that I was always supposed to lead with the joint opportunity, always. Because I figured, that's kind of what we always had in our heads. And then I actually watched a video that Jennifer Anderson did a while back. I can't remember when. And she talked about leading instead with more of like a connection, sample, customer kind of base. And now that I've been trying to change my business to refresh it, my biggest thing has been trying to meet as many new people as possible. And that has been through sampling. So with that, I am going to keep doing the same thing. I'm trying to find new people by sampling, and the people that I already did from January and February, now I already kind of have made a connection. I think that the key here, guys, is connection. It's not about cold messaging, just randomly like shooting texts, things like that. Please, no, don't do it. If I send a message about the joint opportunity or any kind of thing like that, I always voice text, always. And it can be as simple as, hey girl, I know you're going to think, this is literally what I always say. I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but there is just something about you that I think would kill it in Scentsy. And I know you're going to think I'm nuts. You can think I'm nuts forever, but X, Y, and Z reasons why I think you would do great in this business. Holler back if you want to hear more. It doesn't have to be hard, guys. Like it literally, and that's me. That's my personality. Like that's literally me in a message. So number one, be yourself. Make connections first. Don't send cold messages. Start with a sample if you have to. But I think the more that your mouth is open this month, the better off you're going to be. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, Teresa. Now that you just called me out, now I actually know what I'm going to do. I didn't know before. I didn't, but the more you talked about it, I was like, what am I going to do? Okay.
And look, it's only March the 1st. So this is good. At least it's not like March 28th. You got your wine, you got a plan.
It's my birthday month.
Yes.
39, almost 40.
Well, you look 19 all over again.
Oh yeah.
You We'll have to have you back on because again, we love your story and you're getting ready to go on a retreat. I love that you're finding balance because, Scentsy should never be our everything. We're doing this for our kids, so we shouldn't be absent from our children. Some things we might have to say no to, so we can say yes to the bigger picture, right? So anyway, you will have to come back on and let us know how 2022 is working for you in your rebrand. Okay, so I'm going to toss this over to Kelly or actually to Dorothy. If you want to kind of share some a final aha moment that you had, and then Kelly, you can take us out.
Sorry, I was looking at the mute button. Yeah, so I just want to tell her thank you for taking her time to come on before she leaves for her retreat tomorrow. And what the part that you talked about, hold on one second. The part that you spoke about doing things for your kids. Everything that you do for your boys, right? And that totally resonated with me 110%. I have 5 kids. And so that is why I do Scentsy. This July will be 10 years for me. And that's why I've stayed with Scentsy, is for my family and for my kids. So, I just love hearing that from you.
Your face kept me going too. You were like,
oh, I was like, yes, girl.
Yes. Thank you.
So thank you.
Okay, well, I will take us out. So Kristen, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for being authentic and vulnerable and all the things, because I think sometimes in this business, I don't want to say that people really sugarcoat it, but you know how it is. Like they only show the highlight reels. And tonight you were able to share some of the things that were really personal to you and still overcome and make this an amazing call for everybody. So I want to thank you. And as we go into this March and this join special, the coach in me is coming out, you guys. It's like a real thing. And I haven't coached in a million years, but there's the 5 P's. You guys want to write this one down because this is a golden nugget. Shut up. Fred has a coaches meeting like right now too. So he's going into his coaches meeting, and it's 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And it goes in with Kristen's sampling. If she didn't switch the light button on and get the preparation done, what's going to happen? You guys have to start preparing for this, and you have to do it ahead of time because you don't want to be last. You know what? If you're not first, you're last. See, I told you guys the coach is coming out. I hate being second. Second place is the first loser. That's Fred. But if you guys do everything ahead of time, and you guys know I'm really big on working, you won't ever be behind, right? So get all your samples done, get these join things going. And like Carol said, you will reap the rewards in a year. You know what? Sometimes it isn't a year. Sometimes it's next month. You just never know when the hell it's going to be. So just work your business, stay positive, stay motivated. Staying motivated is huge, right, Kristen? She shared, she lost it. But you know what? She also got it back. And that's
she lost it. I did. I lost it for a second. Sometimes you got to.
I know she lost it. Like she vanished off the earth for a good 2 years, I think. She really did.
COVID, dude.
It's real. And you know what? COVID's kind of winding down right now. And life is getting somewhat back to normal. So you know what? Now's the time for us to shine. Amen. And that's all I got for you guys tonight.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
I'm exhausted and I'm
well, at least your nails are done, Kelly. Listen, you guys have an amazing night. And Kristen, I look forward to getting to know you a little bit better, even if it's just through Facebook. You're an amazing woman. And like I said, you know, very inspirational. And I love that photo shoot that you did with your sons too. I was like, that needs to be in a freaking magazine. So thank you for giving us, you know, a part of your evening. For those that have not heard of you or heard, you know, you speak, they are missing out. So thank you for blessing us. Have a wonderful evening and have some wine for us.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Kristen, before we go, will you tell them to park the car? Because
yeah.
we had a few, requests.
I can't even say it like that anymore. See, I can.
You can't park the car? Come on.
I'm from Southie. What do you want? I'm actually from Quincy. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
forget about it.
Forget about it.